ELU enjoyers. It is I, Glorsnax, returning to you with the podcast. We are on with a brand new background here with all of our active face cams right now because this is totally us. And if anybody is telling you otherwise, they are lying to you. Okay? I'm joined by my good friend Mikeypooh,
What's up, people?
the eloquent wine taster monkey SpiritTracks,
Yep.
and the 5 o'clock drinker, Hopelezz.
Yo.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with 5 o'clock drinking. Come on. Mainly because I do it.
All right, we are just we're gonna go straight into that one, aren't we? All right, and then boom, look at that, brand new appeared randomly on the screen. Introductions just like that. Hopelezz, the leader of that TKK unit that has been performing very well in the back half of the season, taking down TPP, LLW, Rev, and GCC as well, and TAD. Sorry about that. You are on a 5-series winning streak. Must feel pretty good.
Numbers on that.
Yeah.
It does feel pretty good. It was kind of at the height of our excitement after the LOW game, 2 weeks in a row taking down the top two, and that felt really, really good for us.
And now you take a nice little bye week.
Yeah, we had this 2-week break basically with Thanksgiving and our bye here, and now we're going to be rusty.
Yep, and now and your being rusty will also impact the standings greatly because you are against War week 9, and that will happen later in the playoff scenarios, which we'll talk about. Monkey fuck jail.
Yes, these are the best.
These are exactly who we are as people. Please respect it.
Please respect this.
And now I think we are going to go ahead and get ready as we will continue the podcast. Anything else want to say? Happy Thanksgiving. How is everyone? All of you were safe?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any of you had family members, all that are like crazy uncles and all that?
Oh, I got one of those.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, what can you do?
Yeah,
I don't really want to.
He'll actually like find this podcast and shoot me. So.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I don't know.
I'm not that crazy.
He searches the internet quite a bit.
All right, Hopelezz. What about you? You had a pretty normal Thanksgiving.
Normal in some people's minds, sure. In ours, our traditional family Thanksgiving fell apart like the last year, 2 years ago, due to internal family drama. So we had a very, very quiet Thanksgiving in comparison to what are normal.
Hey, you know what? All my Thanksgiving is? It's just me and my mom.
Sounds like some good quality time.
We just overmake a ton of food and then we give it out. Or just eat it all.
Fun.
That's a hero move right there.
No, I may just eat it all,
That's
That's
a hero move right there.
That's also a hero move.
Yeah. I like
All
mac
right.
and cheese, what can I say? Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into games. It's been a while since we have spoken to all of our favorite podcast enjoyers. Yes, you listening right now, you are one of our favorites. Congratulations, you get a gold star. As now we go on to GCA versus GCC.
Match. Well fought.
Thoughts?
Amazing gameplay on both sides. Wonderful picks. Flex picks. What can I say?
True.
True.
Things to note of this series, because I laid down a little jot because I was casting this series. Forever, congratulations, at 200 kills.
Not bad.
Recorded 200 kills in ELU. And we may have somebody else catching up to him. But we will talk about that when we get to that series next, because we have a couple of people that are close to reaching that 200 milestone as well. So for context, Forever has more kills than Revolution does combined.
That seems about right.
I didn't know if you had to bring that up, but all right.
Well, I mean,
Nah.
it's a very
It's
interesting
about
stat.
context. It's about
Yeah,
context.
It's about
actually,
it is about context, right? And
you know what?
Rev does forfeit games a lot, unfortunately, so that
Yeah.
number isn't higher. But as it stands right now, Forever has more kills than Rev.
Well, you know what? That is an interesting stat.
And actually, he's not
I'll
the only
take it.
player. Another player this week actually got more kills than Rev as well.
Who's that?
Hextex.
Ooh,
Dude,
really?
I hear that guy's kind of crazy.
He is kind of
I-
nutty. He
I
kind of
told you
go.
that at
He
the
kind of
beginning.
go crazy with it.
Told you that at the beginning of the
He
season.
kind of
before
go nutty
game
with
one.
it, just like Germ Sand and Vacant Tech. They kind of go nutty with it.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we got the little Forever celebration out of the way, we could talk about the real meat of the series, even if we are picking the scraps. Donut, his debut. Okay,
Yeah.
game one. Smite teleport, not exactly ideal, I would assume. You know?
I think there's some potential. I just think it wasn't utilized as well as could have been team wise.
I agree.
But I mean,
agree.
there was some potential, I guess.
So I would give them credit for making the attempt on that. I think if you're able to run another utility summoner spell from the jungle, it could have a lot of big impact. So props to him for either thinking about it, and props for the team for allowing him to do it, honestly.
True. At least, it's a nice fostering team environment. They didn't immediately shoot him down the idea and then bench him.
There you go.
We
But,
thought about it. What
The
can I
Forever
say?
show, game one,
Uh,
as usual.
God, I hate Vex. Like, I roll up to a dragon fight. It's like a
Vex ulted.
3-2 Jin or something, 3-3, and I just get Vex ulted in one shot, and I'm just, what?
Yeah.
Vex
Like,
ult.
like what?
Sounds about right.
It was just a 1.5 item Vex just blast me 100-0. I'm just like, all right. I mean, he played it super well. It was brutal to
Yeah,
play against.
even in a counter matchup as well.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
That
game
game
one
one was
was
just
the Forever show.
yeah.
As most GCA games are. Game
Mhm.
two was the Violet Cap show and Mudkip show as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I talked about I've been talking for a couple of weeks where it felt like the only way or that GCA can really play is just get 9-9 forever super ahead and he rolls over the games, which no one's really been able to stop super well. I mean, just because 9 forever is pretty good. But in this game too, especially, you can see that Mudcap and Violet Cap are able to step up and carry. Even Nine Forever did play well. Annie was less of a carry than the Darius and the Jinx, and so it's good to see that it's their team isn't just like a one trick. Yeah, they're
Ponies.
not just one tricking the team. Yeah, the team isn't just one tricking.
But I will also like to give Forever a lot of credit with the stun setup as well, even if it was
Mhm.
a lot of the KSs as well. Hopelezz, what do you think about game two?
Uh, I mean, game two was definitely interesting. I thought it was a lot of good plays out of everybody, honestly. I thought that in the early game that the Echo Jungle was gonna really take over, especially with how much priority they put bot lane and what they were doing. Yeah, it was just
I will say, Nightmare Seda had a good chance to win that lane. It's just that he heavily misplayed it.
yeah.
And especially that Rift Herald moment as well, where he died to the Jinx ultimate because Rift Herald pushed him out of the way. That was really funny. I'm very sorry,
That
but
was just tragic. I mean, yeah.
that was a funny moment. It was unfortunate for Nightmare, but that was a hee hee moment. And then game three was Halo Blades
Oh.
Darius jungle.
Hey, I will say that there were several points in this series where GCC took the lead, so
Yeah,
proud
that's
of
true.
them for that.
I'm not gonna completely dismiss GCC in this series, but Game 3 is a game I will dismiss.
Yeah.
I thought that Darius jungle. I think did he go Hob or Predator?
He went
I
Hob.
think Hob. I mean, I think it was still fine. We focused bot lane a bunch, got a bunch of kills on span. But it didn't matter a whole lot that game.
Yeah,
99 Forever and Violet Cap kind of got two ahead there for us.
that was Toasty's game. That was Toasty's kill game. You know, you're not playing a tank jungler.
Yeah, dude, Vi literally. All right, they took that from us. Like I was planning on playing Vi bot lane, but they took that from us. But I'm just gonna say Vi, you can play her in every single role. She's not gonna be great. Top lane's bot lane's support is good, but like mid and jungle Vi right now, very good.
I believe it.
Yeah,
Especially if
and
you
then,
build full crit.
that Nidalee did not have a shot. Once the
Yeah.
Camille combo started landing consistently, that Nidalee really didn't have a shot that game.
Yeah, I mean, Camille nerfs incoming. That's
No, it's true. They're coming.
I
They're
hate that.
coming right now next
Yeah.
patch.
Yeah, I think they're pretty big nerfs too, so that's good.
Good.
She still can
I don't-
choke at our people, but she can't hook shot as much,
True.
which is good. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
yeah, that game three.
it's E cooldown nerf and W sweet spot nerf.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
hopefully does her in, but I have doubts.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Pretty unfair that Cho'Gath gets Camille Q on his R. True. Very true.
Yeah.
It's
mean-
pretty broken, actually. I think
Yeah,
Cho'Gath
it's-
needs to be nerfed. Cho'Gath mid is also making another resurgence as well. If you had the correct team comp for it. I probably would have liked to see that, but Cho'Gath mid is super annoying.
Yeah.
True.
It's one of those
Um,
things.
But yeah, Toasty Boy, especially that game 3 on the Vi, did very well. He's mostly like with the Nunu, like we had him on like the best
Enjoyer.
Nunu, best Nunu enjoyer or whatever. This Nunu very supportive, very good at getting his teammates ahead. But here we can see, I think he was like top lane pretty much the entire game and just dominating the Silas. And he really like won that lane and then took those kills and moved them more towards bot lane because mid lane was doing fine on his own. But it was good to see that more of like a carry game out of him. Still ganking a lot, but more like ganking and then using those resources for himself. So it's good to see that he can, do both. Not necessarily like the team's carry, but more like the secondary instead of just the support or the setup.
I think it's really nice for teams who are able to take a more supportive player and put them into a carry role and have them perform very well. Because especially in our league, I feel like a lot of times jungle and top really get kind of thrown on supportive characters and tanks and setup and stuff like that and try and play through mid and maybe carry a lot. So seeing these more aggressive and more playmaking built tops and jungles is really cool, I think, when the teams are actually able to pull it off.
Alright, so awards this series we're gonna go ahead and do very quickly. 999 Forever is the MVP again.
Yeah.
Don't think there's
Yeah.
any contest there at all.
No.
No.
Alright. So who is your under the radar, who's your second MVP? I have Violet Cap.
Yeah.
I have
don't
either
mind.
Violet Cap or Mudkip.
I have Mudcap. Especially like he did well games one and two. They were just chilling bot lane, and kind of transitioned into that secondary carry. Game 3, what I'm looking at especially is we spent about, I don't know, 3/4 of the game down there. I think we ganked that lane 6 times or something like that, and
He
I
only has
don't
one
think he
death.
yeah he didn't die to any of them. I don't think. So and he still managed to have huge impact in the game, kill wise, and uh, with the Jinx resets, being able to continue fights. So he played the mid game very well, but especially in lane, being able to soak up that much pressure. I mean, Spanaway died a couple times, but honestly, like your Galio support, you're not like losing you isn't super bad. If the bot lane burns everything on killing you, then the Jinx can just farm up the tower. So knowing that like necessarily like you didn't have to save the Galio, you can just back up, you can farm, you can still like maintain an even position with the enemy ADC. You can and you have a team that can like kind of carry you through the early game. I think he did that very well in game 3. And game 2, game 1 and 2, he also played very well. It was just like the early game 3, really kind of made it so that whatever we were trying to do wasn't working, and we couldn't really get a foothold in the game.
Yeah. I think I'd agree with you on that one.
Hopelezz.
Even just. Oh yeah, go for it.
Sorry. Someone's
No, it's
breathing
okay.
really
I'm,
loud? That's probably me. I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
I'm pretty good with giving Mudkip the MVP or the second MVP there as well. I do think that Vileplume did very well, but it's kind of a toss up between the two for me.
Yeah, my thoughts on Violet is like game 2 was the carry. Game 1 wasn't. Game 1 and game 3 it felt more like he neutralized the lane well, but without the Vi in game 3 or the Vex and Nunu in game 1, he would have just like slowly built up a lead, which is good. Like Wukong into Sylas, you're gonna win that. He probably still gets a couple solo kills, but the Sylas isn't 1 in 10. In game 2, the Gwen probably gets a big CS lead. So he's winning in my eyes in those 2 games, but he's not carrying the game. Or which was 99 forever, but I think Mudkip was like the second place carrier, I guess. If sure, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so then Mudkip wins it.
Sweet.
I'm okay with it. And now loser MVP.
Yeah, I think it's between Donut and SpiritTracks. I think those are the only two people who did any. I mean, everyone did something, obviously, but those two really stood out to me.
This was Donut's first series with GCC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have to give it to him just because of how well it seemed like he integrated with the team on the first like game day. So
I would agree with that. I mean, you guys can't hear comms, but like he was very vocal. He was like throwing out ideas and like coming into a new team, and like being able to do that is very good. Like, I mean, sometimes people come in and they're like, "Oh, this is a new team. Their team. They have their own dynamic. I'll just figure it out, see what happens," and then you can kind of lose your position, I guess, your voice. But he didn't do that, which was very important in getting the advantages, keeping us in the games for as long, making the games more competitive than they should have been, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well,
then,
if you say it, then.
if you
yeah.
say so.
If you
Now
say
we move on to the next series, our shortest series ever, but not our shortest 3-game series because I will not give you that title, Hopelezz. TKK versus Rev, they only played a single game.
LOL. Yeah, that is
So,
the fastest series.
We
Wow.
can only talk about that single game.
Yeah, it looks like a bot gap.
yeah, a little bit.
You play Kate Morg into Kaisa Leona. I would honestly rather just play like Valorant than play that bot lane if I'm Rev.
Mikeypooh played this series, coming in.
Did you?
No, I played
Oh, you played top lane?
No, wait, I didn't play this series.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
played
TKK
Makai.
versus Rev. Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
I
The memory's
just
already gone with the 5 o'clock day drinking.
exactly. Well, I haven't started yet, but it'll get there.
Uh,
Yeah, I forgot
yeah.
all about this.
Yeah, we were talking about Violet Cup joined the stream to talk about your Maokai gameplay, you know?
Oh, true. Yeah, it was outstanding, obviously. Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
trying
I
to
mean,
rush that Fimble Winter and was not
you
able to
went
get
from
effective.
Fimble Winter Rush.
What are you talking about? I have my Turbo Chem tank.
Oh yeah, I think second's good on Maokai. Yeah, I mean, I was this streamed?
Yeah,
I mean, I think
it
this was
was.
during. I think
It
this
was
was during my series, so I don't think
This
I
was
caught most
no,
of it.
this was its own separate game and its own separate day. This was Friday night.
Maybe I just didn't watch it then.
This was we spent the first a good 25 minutes just waiting for real
Waiting.
players.
Well, I was watching this. I got bored and left.
TKK
yeah,
decided to enforce the game rule. Took the
Yeah.
first game off them. Played the second game, and then Rev didn't have enough players to play the third game, so they immediately forfeit.
I mean, okay, yeah. I turned this off, so I didn't see what was happening in the game. But yeah. So this one's on you guys.
The series is over. That was it. We spent 20 minutes doing the series. It was the quickest we ever went to bed doing the stream. And I thank you, honestly. I was not ready for another to stay up past 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I warned you that it would be a very fast series. I was like, this is the one you want to cast probably if you want to go to sleep soon.
Hey,
No-
you know
no
what I did?
disrespect to
I
it.
absolutely stayed up the rest of the night, no matter what. My word,
Hey.
that primate is looking classy.
That's what I'm telling you guys. Like, I'm kind of high end. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Number
Look,
one
um,
ADC for a reason. That's just how he treats
dude,
himself.
okay, yeah, I still think that's horseshit, but
I'm the number one. Yeah.
I do
Yeah,
gotta
sure.
say, in the series coming in, we did kind of expect a 3-0. I am I'm very sad that unfortunately they were not able to play 2 of the games. I would have enjoyed having the chance to play them more, even if
Yeah.
we expected the win. I would, really enjoy to see if they could step up and provide good competition for us. But we only got the one game. As much as we wanted to try and be lenient on the game rule for them being so late, we had everybody there for an hour beforehand, and they
Yeah.
didn't really let us know that they kind of needed to reschedule or anything to happen really beforehand. So we're like, at this point, this is an insult to injury here. So we're just,
No,
we're
I
just
mean,
we're gonna have to enforce the rule just to keep
Someone needs
ourselves
to.
up.
Mhm.
Someone needs to enforce it eventually. Otherwise, teams are going to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
I encourage teams to enforce it more often. Honestly.
Yeah. It's less League of Legends for us to watch, but honestly, it's kind of about respect. Like, you can't expect to just show up 30 minutes late and all's cool. So I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
see where
uh,
TKK.
That
Oh.
TKK is currently 4th in the standings.
Standings, what we got? 13 and 8.
13 and
So
8.
they're
First is
one game
15 and
behind.
6.
Yeah.
Second for the bye is 14 and 4. By the way, they do own that.
So we got they got a bot. So they got 3 games left. So their max is 16 and 8.
Yep.
So that means New York has to New York has to
is against
so they have to
Rev.
go they have to go 0-3 against Rev to get first.
Does NYM have the tiebreaker?
Yeah.
against TKK?
Yes.
Yes, they won 2-1 week 2. I believe.
TKK doesn't have the
Yeah.
tiebreaker over New York Mutants and GCA.
Or GCA. Yeah.
That's it.
So all right, so for them to get first, New York has to go 0-3 against Rev, which isn't going to happen. So we can probably put their max is at second, which would require TPP to only win 1 game out of the next 6, and they're against GCA and
And GCC.
GCC. So probably 3-0 this week, and I would say,
Hey! We ain't
I'm
done
being
the playoffs.
realistic.
We ain't done to the playoffs yet. Come on.
Yeah.
I was
So-
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say most likely, it's a third or fourth finish.
Yeah, I can agree. I was
Um,
looking at the numbers myself and kind of forecasting, and I did something very, very blatant. Just kind of picked the favorite and gave them the 3-0. By kind of doing that and expecting the basically top four to beat the bottom four, and kind of guessing on a couple games, it was really interesting because you had NYM in first, TPP in second, and then you had GCA, TKK, and LOW all tied at 16-8.
That'd be interesting.
That was
so-
it was really interesting to look at.
all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Doubt that's
Alright.
going to happen. I expect there's going to be a little bit more competition in there. But
Right.
just
I mean,
throwing
yeah.
3-0s out there to see what the maximum was to give us an idea of what was there.
Oh,
Mhm.
Cloud9 has officially announced a new member joining them. LS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh,
didn't
Heard
really
about
know
that earlier.
Our new
Interesting.
Wait, he is actually the LCS coach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do they still retain Max Waldo?
I think he's like, isn't he just a secondary coach, like, or
He
a
might be in a
analyst or
secondary
something?
coach now. I thought he
Yeah.
was the primary coach last season.
No,
No, that was Mithy.
that was Mythic.
Oh,
Okay, well, LS is back to coaching, and it's not Tempo Storm in North America.
All
Hey,
right.
LS, it's ELU.
Impact players, MVP. What do you got?
Germsan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
Germsan,
Germsan
Hopelezz.
and yep.
Yep.
Oh, how dare you? That guy sucks.
And
I'm just
Hopelezz,
kidding.
you got unless you want to fight for your position as number one, like, oh, I fed all these kills to Dreamson, he's nothing without me. Like, you got
Hey,
anything like
make
that?
an argument here. Make it interesting.
If
Yeah.
I want to make an argument for that, I would say that no, Germson is very, very good mechanically. He does very well. I think overall as a team is really where our strength is. Honestly, if I wanted to make an argument for someone else to get MVP, even though the score line doesn't really show it, it would be Fidsick.
Mhm.
Again, if you look at on the objectives there, we got a Baron, all 4 drags, and 1 Rift Herald. Like, it's honestly the overall map pressure that allowed us to just push 4 kills at every opportunity. I think having him as in the jungle role, being able to do what he does, is a very good enabler for the team. That allows us to just do our jobs, basically.
All right. So what seems like to me is you just argued
well, too.
yourself out of an under the radar spot.
Sure, I did. I don't care.
Hey,
We
I
were
like
winning. That's all that
I
matters.
like it. I like it. This is
I
a good
like
teammate, folks.
We were winning.
All
Alright,
right.
and now MVP of the losers.
probably Dr. Alluro again.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at the score line, like that's in a game like this, I feel like score line means more than because you're behind from the very beginning, and so it's who can kind of hold on and like be the person who you would be like who would carry you back. And I mean,
Yeah.
if you're looking at that score line, you see that he's the only one who's really able to do something.
I hate to brag, but I did most damage on team. Just gonna throw that out there.
Okay,
Maokai.
all right. When you're Maokai into Ornn and you're just smashing your face into each other, doing nothing, like,
Yeah, I
alright.
know. I'm just kidding. I give it to Dr. Alluro, obviously.
Mhm.
I also have to give him credit for the Nico pick. That was kind of a little bit
Dude, I hate that champion.
out of left field for us, I think.
Yeah.
Nico. Like, you don't see her very often, but it's kind of like the ASOL thing where it's like you run into like one person who plays it every month, and whoever
Actually,
plays
me
it
and Hope-
actually knows what they're doing.
Me and Hopelezz actually play a decent amount on Nico, I'm pretty sure. Don't you?
All right, you run into
I have
three.
before.
You
I
run
used
into
to run
three
a bot
people
lane.
who play Nico, and one of them knows what they're doing. Maybe one and a half.
I don't.
Yeah. All right, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those champions where you never expect it, and the person who plays it generally knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like a solid pocket pick.
Alright, well, we're gonna go ahead and move on. to the next series. TPP versus the American Dream. Now, if I wanted TAD to make a statement win, it would have been versus TPP.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that is not what we got.
Yeah. It kind of.
Game one was back and forth. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good.
I was just gonna say game one was actually pretty back and forth. Other than that, it wasn't the greatest series. But yeah, you go for it.
What I got from game one was basically Sunny is going just foot on the gas the entire game, and it's just like, all right, I'm just taking the fight to them. If I kill, I kill. If I die, I die. Just trying to get himself a lead because it looked like bot lane was just out of control. Like the misfortune fallen off in priority. I still think she's strong. I just think other ADs caught up to her. So the misfortune rail combo is still good. And then mid lane, it just looked like the Yone wouldn't do a whole lot into the Veigar. The cage was just kind of able to control enough space around mid and also in fights to where the Yone kind of had a hard angle to get in. Also, I think the entire series, it just felt like Brick Machine was just kind of had Sharice's number. The score lines don't really show it, but Sharice's impact in these games was a lot less than it was in the wins, and I think Brick Machine definitely kept him down.
Yeah.
I do want to congratulate a player on TAD that we often don't talk about, since he hasn't been really talked about since draft. It was Captain Miner. I liked him game one. He kept up in CS, tried the best he could as Jhin, but that misfortune was just Axiomark Collector. Eclipse, like there's no hope for that. And Captain Miner did have a poor game 2 and game 3 as well. But I just want to thank him, congratulate him for a good game 1 performance. But I mean, ISO game 1 with just the easy ultimates, and all that. Really just simple. TPP just played the style that they like to play. It was nice to see the Veigar pick there, even if it did take a while. It was very nice to see Wake play that. I thought that was a good pick. Something they could potentially try. Brick Machine went Gorge Ranker with the Nocturne.
Nocturne?
I
think it's like third.
I think
third
it's
best.
okay. I think you either go Assassin or Stridebreaker. But hey, what do I know?
I think
I'm just a
Gorge Ranker
filthy top lane player.
Can work. It's just like if you're ahead, and you don't need to slow people down, you can kind of use that to just face roll in a team fight. I think it's more situational than the other two. But I don't know, like it was decent. It's kind of built space, which is what the champion needs to do. So I mean, yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's the best item. I'd say it's a good situational one, and he probably thought it was the right situation.
Yeah. And game 2 is just the Vladimir show.
Yeah, there's another champion I hate.
You had a lot of champions.
I hate well, it's because I play AD and like 90% of the champs in the game just one-shot me.
Okay.
So
man,
you
I
build
play
up a
top.
hatred.
Come on.
Nah. No.
Specifically from another previous AD main, specifically the champions that one-shot you, and there's absolutely no way in hell that you can ever kill them without a 5-stack team.
Yeah. Camille jumps on you. Vladimir jumps on you, goes invulnerable. Kassadin, Vex, like all these champs that just blink on you and you die. But I mean, yeah, like we've seen Wyke's Vladimir a couple times, and it always is just kind of face rolly. He plays it very well. It's weak, kind of weak. I'm pretty sure it's weak in lane. Like it's not weak, it's not strong. It's just kind of there to like survive until you get a couple items. But he always seems to pressure a lot more than I think a Vladimir should. maybe he just knows the champion better than other people, or maybe that's just the individual skill difference. So I mean, that game he did very well that game. Scaling also did very well. I think he set up a lot of kills in that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, are we on to awards yet or not yet?
One more
Oh.
game.
You guys got
Apparently,
anything?
there was a miscommunication for the TAD. We called for an orange jungle, Vi got locked instead, and then
that
last
did
pick
happen.
chose Ornn anyway.
I mean, I think the Vi top was a solid pick. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Game
I think
3,
that was
as Sunny D would say, Dream to me is a KDA player.
13 and 4. I mean,
No, Dream to me did pretty well.
yeah, I don't.
even
one
though
of his mains.
even though White got his one trick as well, you know.
I think it's very good showing for him to be able to hold his own in that matchup. It's main versus main, so it's basically just who knows
It's
the
just
champion
solo
matchup
queue.
better. Yeah. And what Wyke is D something and Dream's plat something, and so like you're playing up a level, which is very good on him.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry about that. Don't
Dream
think...
is Plat 1 and Wyke is D2, so there's almost an entire division.
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
good
I
on him.
No, Dream ended Plat 4.
Like
then
Plat 1
The
now.
sheet is out of date because that's where I'm pulling it from.
Yeah, no, because that was just the beginning of the season when we did it.
Yeah.
Wyke right now is D3.
Cool.
Alright.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. And now we are gonna be giving out awards. I would also like to shout out ISO Square. Played amazing this series, my brother. Neffel did very well top lane as well, which is kind of not expected considering he is against Sunny D. And he did play Volibear duty for 2 out of the 3 games. So, I mean, actually I think it was
3 out
Volibear
of
all
3
3.
games.
Yeah, I think it was Volibear all 3 games. So he was just stuck on Volibear duty. Because they just banned Urgot against him. And he looked nice. Neville looked really nice on the Volibear. And I think that's a nice little pick for them going forward. Especially maybe in a matchup where he doesn't feel comfortable with it. He could just play Volibear and just do Volibear things. I just thought TPP had a nice recovery moment. You know? Beating down New York Mutants and then coming back and then beating down TAD. So now this is the TPP we expect to see. This is the TPP we expect to, come back to the top, fight for the playoff spots and all that. And
I still think of New York Mutants if they had their full team. I almost think they'd beat TPP, honestly. That's just me, though.
You think a full team Mutants?
Yeah. Probably.
With a Nubity instead of a Mr. Machismo?
Yeah, and all the love to Mr. Machismo, but he was a walking bag of gold all 3 games. And he knows he was out. But, like, I don't know. I honestly think New York Mutants, even with that sub, looked amazing all 3 games, even though they lost all 3 games. Like, I thought it was really good, personally.
Okay.
That's just me, though. Maybe TPP proves me wrong. I don't know.
All right. Well, I think they played well. What do you think, Hopelezz?
TPP, yeah, they definitely stuck themselves into the driver's seat and drove home. I applaud TAD for putting up as much of the fight as they can, especially Dream in Game 3, but I can't say it wasn't unexpected.
Yeah, and plus, Mikey, you played Yumi, so I don't think your opinion counts anymore, to be honest.
That's true. No, I was forced to play that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were forced to click the lock-in.
And Mikey specifically, I saw you at one point in time in that game on Sunny while he was attacking tower and just stayed there attached to him instead of adding to the tower damage. Like, come on, man.
You know what?
Where are your Yumi mechanics?
Well, first of all, that's an oxymoron. No, I truly did not want to play Yumi, but it was,
I had a gun to his head, says ISO Square. Okay.
It's true. He did.
How did ISO held the gun across the screen monitor to
No,
TAD
he
spotlight?
hired assassins to come into my house. It was
Oh
weird.
my god. This
I know.
TPP conspiracy goes much deeper than I thought.
I know. It was against the script too, because we were supposed to win Game 3. But
That's true.
whatever.
You were supposed to win. TAD are the Game 3 gods, you know?
It's true.
Just like LLW are the Game 1 losers. Speaking of LLW, it's time, huh? Alright. So this is going to be... Oh, we forgot to do awards. That's right. This is a hard one to give awards for, actually. There's a lot of TPP played very well.
I think Wyke Wazowski, honestly. I mean, he
You
kind
think
of just...
you think Wyke over ISO?
Yeah, I think Wyke just dominated all 3 games so hard.
Alright.
Even Game 3, when the Collie was fed, it didn't stop him.
What about you, Hopelezz?
I would have to agree, and while I'll give ISO definite credit for popping off Game 1, I gotta say I really enjoy the consistency that came out of Wyke as their main carry, always getting the double-digit kills, and just he could put any one of those games on his back. And at least judging from what I saw and the scoreline, which admittedly is not the best judge, I can't be confident that ISO would be able to get put the team on his back for all 3 of those games.
I'd give ISO the under the radar for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Alright, so Wyke and then ISO. I can agree with this. And then, who is the loser's MVP? Is it another Dream?
Probably Sunny. Oh, yeah. Well, Dream did really well Game 3. I think Sunny did better all 3 games spread out, but I'm down
Okay.
for either one.
Then we'll give it to him.
I'm down for either, but
I think Sunny could use it. I think Sunny would appreciate, him being recognized for that.
if we're talking about Game 3, then obviously Dream to me just goes off the charts for loser MVP.
Alright, so as Cherie said, when Game 3 gods meet Game 1 losers, the universe isn't ready for that collision. It's like a WWE promotion. This Thursday night, meet when the Game 1 podcast discuss this big go hard film. Screenshot. Okay.
Oh my
That
gosh.
pig don't go as hard as, They go hard. It didn't go that hard though. Alright. This series, the shame series for me, because unfortunately I am the temporary new team captain of LLW. Daihai Croc moved in the middle of the season and won't have internet until the 18th of December.
Oh, gotcha. I had no idea. Is this the first time this is being announced?
Publicly, yes.
Ah, there you
Other
go.
teams knew, but publicly, this is the first time we're announcing it.
Oh wow, this is where we break the news, people. Get on the Scuttle Crabbers.
Alright. What did I miss?
So I've just announced that Daihai Croc will not be playing for the rest of the season.
Ooh.
Daihai Croc, my support.
Yeah. Rough.
So
yeah.
what's the plan there?
So we are officially activating our sub right now.
Oh, Arctic.
Yep.
Yeah.
He made his ELU debut performance, and it was very. It was very not very. It didn't go to plan, considering that we were just starting to get a schedule back integrated because Thai was the person who made the schedules and he was already without internet for a while, since about Thanksgiving. So we really didn't have much time to practice with Arctic. And I don't want to use that as an excuse because, we should have at least won a game. It's very disappointing that we all performed that way. I feel as if we all could have played better as well. uh, the Game 1 brand incident. That was very unfortunate, but I do want to give credit to New York Mutants because they just showed up, said, nah. Because New York played a style where it was very suffocating, and, I didn't really die a lot in the series, but I didn't really have much impact to begin with. My most impact was probably on that Mordekaiser's ADC game, and it was just New York News just knows how to group properly as well, as we took Hextech off of Jinx as well. And I think Hextech off Jinx was
Jinx is broken.
yeah, it was different because he played Twitch and he wasn't really a factor in the game 3 win, but I was playing Senna. So then again, I wasn't really a factor either.
But you played Senna Pike. Did you fasting Senna or did you
I was ADC Senna.
80 Senna? Yeah. I don't know. I've played that a couple times. I don't like it. It just feels like you sacrifice too many souls, and you do get items, but it's just I don't think items on Senna are as impactful.
Yeah, I also went the wrong build. I went Divine. Because I was expecting
Yeah.
Viego to go tanky because he already built the Divine, but then he sold it for an Immortal Shield Bow.
Dude,
Nice.
I'm telling you, Solomon
Yeah,
on Viego,
Solomon
like he has
on
the
Viego.
mind games.
Yeah, he mind gamed us. That was also Toad's pop off game as well. It was just very good play from them because they play a very similar playstyle that we used to play, where teams would tell us we play suffocating, but New York Mutants plays like let's send 5 people here suffocating gameplay. So unless you answer the macro completely correctly, they just force you into a really bad spot, even if it isn't the best play that they can do. But they're still already at a point where they have so much of a numbers advantage there that any fight that you want to take, you can't really take because you're already at a numerical disadvantage and you're already down a ton of gold. Game 1 was just very, very unfortunate. Game 1, I don't want to relive Game 1.
Well, I'm looking at on these like they played very different in game 2 comp wise. It looked like game 1 and game 3. It's like you have the Anivias, you have the Jinx, you have these farming champions where once you get 2 or 3 items, then you can take over. And they did a good job accelerating that, especially through bots of game 1 and but game 2 it was like Kled, Zac, Malphite, just 3 just all right, you're close to us. Let's run you down, champs. And it looked like they really just kind of I don't know, it's kind of like in baseball, like you have a pitcher who throws like 90 and then you switch him out for some guy who throws 70 and then you throw back another guy who throws 90 the next inning. And so you just kind of mix people up. I don't know if that happened, but it looked kind of like a Z counter, and they're like, all right, let's just pile on this. Let's just go all in. You have Leona, Zac, Malphite, Kled. Like, they catch someone out, they're dead instantly. And so they
I
played that
wasn't
very
able
well.
to get to a point where I could do that as well. I should have probably built Riftmaker, but Riftmaker feels so bad to build on ADC Mordekaiser because you lose a lot of mobility. That's designed for that role, unless I would have taken Ghosts.
I play Gale Force on Mordekaiser when I go bot lane.
Yeah, okay. Don't talk to me. I'll let other people talk about this series now, give their thoughts on it.
I didn't get a chance to watch it live, so I was watching through Soka's perspective today for the podcast here. And while I didn't get to see much of the gameplay across the map, I gotta say I really was impressed with how New York Mutants played, and they basically, what it looked like to me is they formed the entire team into a wedge and hit the weakest point on the map every single time. And they did that over and over and over again. And once they created a crack, once they had a small advantage to push, they pushed it until it broke, and then they found another spot. And it was very impressive from team coordination wise. And I think even despite the fact that they have two very scaling drafts and then a rather aggressive draft. I don't think that honestly changed how they played. They did the exact same thing, even with a different style of team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, I think that if New York Mutants has their full team, I truly do think they're a top 3, maybe even top 2 team. I mean, right now they're in first place.
Mhm.
That I believe they have a bye week coming up. Do they not?
Yeah, I
last
think
week
it's
is bye.
The final
last
week.
week is bye. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't expect them to hold on to that first place, but however, I like I said, I think New York Mutants is going to shake things up, and I don't think anybody predicted them to be this good when the season started. I predicted them to be in the middle of the pack. I think we all did. Um,
I had,
But-
I think it was the first
Oh.
scrim we ever did. It was against NYM, and I didn't know who was on the team, and we absolutely demolished them. I was like, "What? Just what?" And so
Oh,
I
yeah.
had them at like 7th, and then like 2 weeks later, they're just still
oh yeah, that's
losing,
right. I
and I'm
remember that,
like,
yeah.
"All right, I called it," and then they just flip a switch, and it's just like, no, no,
I think
wait, no,
I-
no, no. The first 2 weeks they just stomp, and I'm like, "Oh, maybe I was
Well,
wrong."
Well, some say, I don't know if I believe this. Some say Hector is by far the best ADC in the league. I don't know about that, but
He's
I
top,
know
he's top 3.
I know he's top 3, and I know Solomon's a top 3 jungle at least. So
I
between
think Nobody's also there as well.
yeah, oh yeah,
Mhm.
nobody's probably a top. I'd say he's a top 3 support easily.
And we were talking about Minisoko being up there at
Oh
the
yeah,
top
and
too.
then Mini Soko, yeah,
Yes.
and
I think
Toda's
and then
job
I
is
Toad,
think
out.
and then
Mini
Toad.
Soko's
Trash.
the
He's trash.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I think Mini Soko's the second best top laner.
Yeah.
Honestly, oh yeah, we've said this several times. They're the most well-rounded team. All 5 of their positions are like top 3, 4 in the or 3 or 4 in the league, which just basically makes them the most well-rounded team.
Hmm.
They've got a really good team back there. Just as a prediction type thing, their last game is this week and it's versus Rev. So we
3-0.
can very easily expect them for a 3-0, which would end them 18-6. And basic calculations from what I was doing earlier, the only one I can really see being able to take that would be TPP if they go 3-0 both weeks.
Yeah. So we got TPP and GCA. Both have 3. They both have. Thank you. They both have the tiebreaker over NYM. GCA got lucky in that series.
That was such a good series. That's such
yeah.
a good series.
Yeah.
That was New York Mutants series to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they lost it. And then TPP caught them with a sub and kind of yeah. But
Your-
so
your
they
next-
both have the head-to-head. So they both need to win 4 games, to beat them in the.
Yep.
So, but the issue there is that TPP and GCA play each other.
Yep.
So what needs to happen is GCA needs to 3-0 most likely. And
Alright,
TPP needs to 3-0.
Come on, let's
And-
talk about this in playoff predictions.
Is
'Cause
there?
I have a whole thing about it, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know we added that. All right, my bad. Yeah.
It's alright, don't worry. Alright, so anything else you guys want to say about this series as my team regrettably falls to 10-8 and we are heads down in shame?
Well, would you? I will ask. This is probably under playoff prediction. You guys probably will not get the first round bye. I think that's
Nope.
No, it's confirmed. We don't get it.
okay. But you guys are still. You would have.
The best we
next
can
would have-
end is 4th.
Okay, so you will be making the playoffs. Got it.
They could if they lose out.
The
I
best-
think and Tad wins out. They swap.
Yep.
But I don't see that happening.
Tad wins out, War loses out, and oh no, War wins out, we just lose, and War and Tad win, then we're out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, more playoff things are being revealed. We'll do our power rankings, of course.
We do impact players for this.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, my bad. I already named Hextech the MVP of the series.
I
Well,
agree
yeah,
with that.
that's pretty standard. Yeah.
Who
I,
is your
I
under the radar?
I put Mini Soko. I really
Yeah,
think he turned it on.
we see this. I keep every single week I say this. Like we see just so many weak side top laners, and I think especially in the TPP LOW, like the old guard best teams, whatever, you have these weak side top laners roll up into a fight that they're super good mid and bot lanes, um, with their who've built a lead, and then they just kind of push them, just are there as a wall. But we've seen teams like TKK, I think, um, NYM in this series, even GCA a bit with Violet's Darius, play more strong side top laners and just kind of beating up on that lane and making that a point of power. Um, and I think it's a really good way to play. You can still like the Mordekaiser is not really strong side. It's just kind of like a beat up on another weak side champion. So you have these options where you can play weaker side top, but also turn it up with like the Kleds and the Dariuses, and then I think TKK is on the Camille. And so I think this is really good into players like Ruckus and who's on TPP, Neffel, who play mostly weak side champions.
Okay.
So yeah, Mini Soko under the radar for me.
I think
Yep.
you've made your case very well known.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree.
Let's do it.
All right, losers.
If you want me to start, I actually
Yeah.
have yours truly, Nitrodax. I think, I personally think Nitrodax, for how much his team was behind some of the games, he actually held his own and still had decent KP. Actually kept his deaths fairly low. So yeah, that's basically my justification for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really have an opinion on this one. I think it was pretty equal, so I'll just go with you.
Yeah, Nitro was my first instinct for losers MVP as well. So
All right.
Sweet.
Well, I got a loser's MVP, Mom.
Mama, we made it.
Mama, we made it. All right. Now we're gonna, as Mikey compiles for the average of us power rankings, I am going to announce the individual power rankings. Right now, Mikeypooh leads us off with TPP number 1, GCA number 2, New York Mutants 3rd, TKK 4th, LLW 5th, War 6, 7th TAD, 8 GCC, 9 Rev. Pretty good standings. We all pretty much agreed on certain people in certain places. The only way that people changed in almost all of our standings is usually top 3, top 4 area. But our guest had a very interesting one because our guest forgot
Yeah.
to include GCC.
What?
You forgot about
Oh,
GCC,
oops.
Hopelezz.
well,
okay. Yeah, it's okay. Just edit it quickly. I won't announce it yet.
okay.
All right, SpiritTracks. His power rankings are number 1 TPP, New York Mutants number 2, number 3 GCA, number 4 TKK, number 5 LLW, 6 War, 7 TAD, 8 GCC, 9 Rev. And me typing this at the same time as Spirit, we both actually ended up with the same exact power rankings.
Yeah, I think so. Ours were the same, and then Mikey's were
Mikey
the only thing
and
different
Hopelezz
was
are two different.
yeah. The only thing different with Mikey's is that GCA is number 2 and NYM number 3, while ours is flipped.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Did you just
This is
repost?
this is the average. So the
Oh, that's
average,
the
All right,
average.
so
average has New York Mutants at second, which
all
is
right.
what you guys
Hey,
had.
come on, man! You gotta let me announce it.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. My power rankings: I have TPP 1, New York Mutants 2, GCA 3, TKK 4th, 5th LLW, 6 War, 7 TAD, 8 GCC, 9 Rev. I am very tough on my team. I always think that we don't play well, we don't deserve to be in top 4 power rankings. So He didn't play well. So
Mhm.
if there was another strong-ish team, like War was basically 9-9, I would have put them above us. But I think Stormblade would have killed me. But then again, I don't really care.
Yeah. What's death?
Oh, it's death, but a freedom. All
Mhm.
right. Hopelezz has New York Mutants as number 1, TPP as number 2, TKK third, fourth LLW, and fifth GCA, which I think is the most controversial part of that.
Yeah. And then yeah, the rest are the same.
The rest are the same.
This I want to hear about that. What are you thinking here?
With my explanation here is at current, I think it's pretty agreeable that NYM and TPP are the top two. After that, TKK, LOW, and GCA were all kind of in this blob of you don't know who's going to be next without being there. I'll take it personally, and I'll admit there's a personal vendetta that I put ourselves slightly up there. But I would personally admit that we're all about the same equal level. I don't have a lot of experience with GCA as much as I do the other teams, or at least from watching and stuff, because I miss streams all the time. So I could be very well underrepresenting them, and they could be higher, but at the same time, third, fourth, fifth, I think might as well all just be in third place at the moment until things officially ravel out. And then very clearly we have War, TAD, GCC, and Rev in the bottom four in that order. So
Mhm.
Okay. So, Hopelezz with the controversial pick here. Let's
you got to
go.
do something get being remembered.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I've been doing that.
It's Hopelezz giving New
Yeah.
York Mutants the love.
Honestly, like I can agree. Like I feel like we saw that series. TPP steamrolled it. I feel like that wouldn't have happened if nobody they had their full lineup. So I can kind of give them some leeway there. But in my eyes, like I mean, that's like a what if situation. So I mean, maybe in playoffs, NYM with everyone takes the series. They could very well be better. Yeah.
Right. And then our average group rankings. TPP 1, New York Mutants 2. Number 3, GCA. Number 4, TKK. Number 5, LLW. 6, War. 7, TAD. 8, GCC. 9, Rev. Mini Soko. The Hopelezz has always been my favorite ELU player, to be honest. Nobody
I'm
indeed.
honored.
New York Mutant most improved team. Considering they're a new team, I don't think there is a most improved possible. And if you want to give a most improved, I would give it to TKK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking
I
about from beginning of season to end, if that's what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, because New York started out pretty hot.
You
They
started
threw
out
that one
5 and
series.
1.
Yeah, they threw that one series, and then they've lost 3 times since then, and that was against TPP with the sub. So I feel like NYM started out pretty hot. They had a couple stumbles, but for the TKK started out bad.
TKK
So
started
1 and
out
5.
1 and 5, and then
Yeah.
completely turned it around by winning 5 series in a row. So New
Yeah.
York Mutants, you were always at the top. Sorry, you don't
Yeah.
It
get it
took
here.
us a while to get our identity and figure out how we played. But once we fell into that role, the results will show for themselves.
Yeah, they do.
First power ranking had us at bottom. Well, that's because Spirit's rude. I don't know what to tell you.
That's because the scrim was a disaster.
And that's because
And
Mikey based his rankings off scrims, okay? I don't know what to
what
tell
else?
you.
What else?
what else was there? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there wasn't anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, yeah, you were low in the initial season power rankings, so I will grant you that. But I think most improved still just goes to
I would say
TKK.
surprising. They're a surprising team.
Also, we
'Cause
definitely didn't have them at the bottom. We had Rev at the bottom, but Rev has never been above 9 in any of our power rankings, even the beginning ones.
I put them at 8, I
Oh,
think.
did you?
Yeah, and then the very next week I was like, all right, no more of that.
All right,
I definitely have them at 9.
let's talk about our upcoming matchup of the week, and now everything will move around on the screen because I did it all in different places to keep your eyes rolling. All right, TAD versus LLW has playoff implications. GCC versus TPP has playoff implications. Rev versus New York has playoff implications. But the biggest one is GCA versus War. That is the biggest playoff implications.
Yeah,
LLW
because-
versus
losers
TAD
throughout.
is also the second biggest because that is determining if TAD is able to continue their playoff push as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I actually had those two as my top two as well.
The way I see this is that TPP number 1 power ranking against number 8 should be a roll. NYM number 2 against a 9 should be a roll. So these two, I'm expecting 3-0s. Maybe GCC Donut goes crazy in the game and carries us to victory in one game. So at best, I think it's a 1-2 or a 2-1 in favor of TPP. And then, but like those are like those are sleeper series. I think these other two series, you have a slumping LLW against a TAD who occasionally shows promise. I think if Sunny can strong side that top and just demolish it, you can get a good series there. And then GCA War, it's really just up to like, did War plan something and they're week off? Are they still up to it? And is GCC truly a 5th place team like Hopelezz thinks?
I think GCA, aren't they on the longest series winning streak in the league?
I don't think they've lost one. They
The
lost to
only series
LLW.
they lost was
week two.
LOW, and then they've won ever since.
Yeah.
Which is why, by the way, I don't want to foreshadow too much. GCA versus TPP a week from now. Oh boy, that's a juicy series.
That's
Yeah,
our.
we've been-
I think we could just name that game of the week. As
Yeah,
long
we
with
can
War
already-
versus
Hey,
TKK.
hey, we gotta wait for next week so we have
yeah,
content.
we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been looking forward to that one the entire season.
All right. Do you agree with these, Hopelezz?
I gotta say both those games are really good. Personally, I cast my vote in GCA versus War.
Mhm.
If War really pulls ahead and 3-0s, I think that has greater amount of implication than LOW versus TAD, pulling GCA down into the 5th, 6th place spot with War. Technically could allow TAD, by the numbers, to come up into like 4th.
How-
If you're looking at extremes.
Oh,
I
because
believe.
Tad would 3-0 us and then 3-0 Rep, right? Is that?
Yeah,
if they're
yeah.
if you're looking
but
at
then
there-
at
there's
best they end 12 and
potential.
12.
Yeah.
So how would they end 4th? GCA
Is
would
that
be.
4th?
There's
I'm
no way.
trying to do mental math based off other
There's no
numbers,
way.
so
There's no way they end 4th because you're 13 wins, so they end 5th.
yeah.
maybe 5th. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5th.
Anyway,
Maybe 5th.
upcoming matchup done. Playoff scenarios, baby.
All
Let's
right.
go. Playoffs, baby.
This-
Love the Mets.
All right.
Playoffs.
All right.
All
So there are a couple scenarios that I've already done.
Mm-hmm.
3 teams are confirmed in New York Mutants, TPP, and GCA. I think I confirmed in New York Mutants in a content announcement when they 3-0'd us. I don't think I did. I think I was too depressed when we lost. I don't. Yeah, no, I did. Okay, I officially confirmed them. I just wanted to make the content announcement sure. Okay, this is where you get all your pens and papers out because now this is where the driver's seats come in. The only people in control of their destinies right now are TKK, LLW, and War. Tad and GCC need miracles.
Yeah. So I mean, what I see happening is I think GCC and Rev is out. GCC, we got LLW and TPP. I think TPP 3-0s us. I think if LLW continues to look shaky, then we have a shot there of taking 1, maybe 2 games. But I don't think that's enough because we would need pretty much to win out.
You would need to 3-0 TPP.
We need
in
5
order-
games. We need 5 games, and then we have to have War lose all 6. So
War
we have to go
lose
5
all
and 1.
6, and
Yeah.
Tad lose all 6.
Tad would have to because we need 5 to beat 8, which is War. So we need Tad to go 1 and 5, and then War to go 0 and 6, and then us to go 5 and 1 or 6 and 0, which isn't going to happen in 99% of scenarios.
Hey,
So I
baby,
think
nobody ever
yeah,
said that the 2-13 Arizona Cardinals would beat the Minnesota Vikings to send the Green Bay Packers to the playoffs in 2003. I remember that game. It was a fun
sure.
game to watch.
Uh, sure.
Fair,
Um,
fair.
yeah, but I mean, kind of going back on what I was saying earlier about New York's status. So they're in first right now. They need to go. They're going to go 3-0 versus Rev to 18-6. So that means they need and they lose both tiebreakers on TPP and GCA. So they need both those teams to go 3-3 at best. Um, they need them. Yeah, so they need to keep them under 3 wins. So basically, what needs to happen is TPP
Is
probably
you
3-0.
is you gotta help confirm New York Mutants first place is what
Yeah,
I'm hearing here.
yeah. So most likely TPP 3-0's GCC. So that's their 3 wins. So then they need GCA to 3-0 TPP, which would mean that War has to 3-0 GCA. So basically, if GCC can't take a game off TPP, which is unlikely, then you just need extremes for NYM to stand first. Um, what I see happening: TPP 3-0's GCC, GCA 3-0's War, and then you have like a fight for first in week 9 versus TPP GCA, which is I probably think is going to be 2-1 TPP, which puts them at first, GCA at second, um, 1 game above New York at third.
And TKK can still end third as well.
Yeah. So what I have 18-6 New York. So TKK needs
Oh wait,
Yeah.
no. I think New York actually
TKK.
owns the tiebreaker over you.
Yeah. So TKK that you guys have a bye, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
bye this week, and then next week it's
So
versus
your
Troy.
best is 16-8. So that puts
My
you
bad.
at fourth.
Yep.
And so basically, what I just is seeing is Tad versus War fighting for sixth, and maybe LLW fighting for fourth. Um, I feel like the top three is pretty. I mean, there could be upsets, but I think it's pretty cut and dry, like easy to predict. Um, maybe the GCA gets 1-2'd or 2-1 War, and then they only win 1 game off of TPP, and that, or even get 0-3, and that puts them at like 15 wins or 16 wins or even 17 wins, and then they aren't able to surpass New York, and that puts New York at second for the bye. But really, it's mainly in GCA's hands, and I think if Slush forever keeps playing like he is, then I think it's pretty straightforward.
Another thing
Um,
as well is that a lot of these series now are going to be determined to the wire. War versus TKK is actually a really huge series because depending on which TKK and which War show up, it's going to be a very entertaining series.
Hmm.
And that will determine if War goes to playoffs or not. Because I think we can all agree that TAD will beat Rev.
Hmm.
It's just the
Yeah,
matter of fact if TAD can take a game off LOW.
which I
Yeah.
think is
Possible.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's likely that they take a game, at least one. Um, Again, if Sonny runs it down, then whatever. But I don't think he will this time.
something I wanted to point out, assuming that we beat War next week, and then LOW doesn't drop a game if they actually go get the full 6-0 in these next 2 weeks. That actually puts both of us at 16-8 record.
Yeah, and we would
which I
both,
believe
and
by
you
the
would be
head-to-head
fourth.
means we get fourth. Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you would be fourth and we would be fifth, and we would instantly face each other in the first round of the playoffs.
Spicy.
Huge.
Actually, no.
That's content right there.
How are you doing it this week, Mikey? Are you letting third place pick?
Yeah. So for the first round we were just gonna do third versus sixth, but for the second round, first place would get to pick
Okay.
who won out of the first.
All right. So yeah, it would be TKK versus LOW first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, so I think
Although we could put a vote out there to see do people want. It's already too close to the playoffs where the vote will be biased though, because
yeah.
we already
think
know
it's
the
just-
few teams that will get third. There's only like a handful of teams that can get third.
It's
TKK,
yeah, NYM and GCA.
GCA,
it's-
I
TPP.
guess TPP too, but I don't think I think they're
I
first.
think it'd be safer to keep it how we have it now, where third just faces sixth, and they just deal with it.
Yeah,
then,
I think that's
And
pretty
then
good.
and then second round we can talk about picking opponents.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were doing it for that as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is really dependent. TKK, their scenario to be confirmed into playoffs is the easiest.
Mhm.
They wait. Literally take
Yeah.
the bye week. Depending on that bye week goes, TKK may have already confirmed yourself in.
Yeah, I
Wait,
think
yeah.
unless a miracle happens and both TPP and GCA just kind of
Wait.
sleep in the garbage, that we're the highest that we can get is fourth this season.
Wait, hold on. Aren't they confirmed already? Because so
They're technically 5 games out.
the team that would need to beat them is TAD, right? To take their spot, and TAD is 6-12.
No, the team that would beat them. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
they are confirmed in.
so they're
I've been
6-12.
Yeah, I've been doing it off the TAD ratings. My bad.
Yeah. So it's 13-8 versus 6-12. So TAD would need 7 wins, which is impossible with 6
2
games left.
Yep.
All right,
yeah,
well, TKK, congratulations. Live on stream, you've been confirmed in Hopelezz. How does it feel?
I gotta say, it was expected from before week 1, but
Hey, nice.
Yeah,
Confidence.
that's what we like to
I
hear.
Yeah.
to Mikey about
Yeah.
it like way long ago, and he never believed me, and
What are
now
you
I get the
talking
chance.
True.
to
True.
show
Mikey
him
likes
up.
to, Mikey
This
likes to
never
call
happened.
himself the new team supporter,
Oh, it did.
and then threw TKK under the bus.
Yup.
Yeah, I totally thought they'd get last the whole time. It's true.
I mean, to be fair, with the first 2 weeks and how we saw you perform, we were just thinking that you were like a 7th to 8th place team.
Don't blame you from the first 2 weeks, but
Yeah, that's
Ever
Toad's
ever
fault.
since
I
then,
had our confidence. So.
since then, it's definitely improved. Because you did beat Tad, and we were like, okay, well, that's a nice win. Then you beat the beaten up GCC, which was the 3-sub game incident. So for the first 4 weeks, we were like, okay, well, there's something there.
Yeah. To be fair, looking back at that week 4, I'm pretty sure you guys beat us even if our full roster is there, because you guys were looking pretty good the next week, and unless there's like a huge
Whoa,
jump.
hold on
between...
now. Hold on now. This is young Trendsetter here. Don't disrespect his name.
Oh yeah, no, of course not.
We were definitely
he's very good.
concerned.
I still stand by my statement though. Yeah, I think Trendsetter you got. Yeah, I think Trendsetter is better than Fidsick. I think bot lanes are slightly in TKK's favor, and I think solo lanes are in their favor. So I think you got like a 2 to 3 lane wise, and I think maybe.
Now, granted, when you beat TPP, we all took you seriously.
I didn't. I saw that and I was like, never mind.
Takes time to build proper respect.
It
Yeah.
does. It does, genuinely. It does.
It's true.
It's why most of the early game preseason rankings were exactly the way they were. Yeah, so it really is going to be super interesting because the worst you guys can end is 6. Because you can go 13 and 11. That means you get 3-0'd by War. They take the place over you. And then LOW is against GCC. And then, something like that happens, you know?
Yep.
That would be the worst case scenario. But yeah, you are confirmed in. Thank you very much. Completely
Honestly,
forgot to confirm that.
right now, the only thing we can do is really push to keep our fourth place spot. I think anything other than that is up to everyone else. So we're just kind of riding out the rest of the season at this point.
Yeah, the fourth place spot would be interesting because I mean, let's say you end 13 and 11, and then that would put War at 11 and no, because then War would have to win 2 games against GCA and 3 OU in order for them to jump into a higher position.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Unlikely.
which could happen because LLW could also lose as well. I think another interesting thing as well is that the game records determine the playoff seedings and not the series win. But I don't really care.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's a good thing. Because
Mikey told me it was to punish my team, so I understand the sins of our father.
It's true.
yeah, I think it's good though, because like if you just have series wins, you're just gonna get like maybe you get like a 2-0 to start, and then the series is over, and you you don't get to play as many games, so there's a disadvantage there. But also it's like it keeps you like motivated. It's just like yeah, we don't have to win every single series to still be in it. We can take these like single games here and there, and these I don't know, it rewards people for winning. It's like even in like I guess losing situations, for sticking with it. I think that's good, especially in the league community where you just get FF15s every other game. So
True.
it just keeps people in it.
I'll
Next.
echo everything you're saying, and then I'll also add that under the radar, this is Mikey's plan for more content. Because if it was just series wins, he'd only get 2 games sometimes
We don't. Yeah.
instead of 3.
Hey, that actually kind of was. That was a little bit of the reason behind it. We wanted more content, and we wanted more drama, because with series wins, it's just I don't know. It's so straight up, but with singular game wins, it's so much more interesting, honestly.
It adds another dimension.
It's a what?
It adds another dimension
Yeah,
to what's
exactly.
going on.
And plus, teams hate. So when you lose a 2-1 series, teams really hate that because they're like, we were so close, but now
Yep.
you can take something away from it and be like, at least we got something for our team, you know?
Mhm.
It's more punishing
So
if
I
it's just
think
series with
Thursday
higher stakes.
is this week is going to be deciding whether or not TAD, LLW, whether they're confirmed in or not. That would be the last.
Yes.
This week is going to confirm if we'll have 2 teams in the race or we'll have all 3 still. Because if TAD wins, then LLW loses, and then, you know.
Yeah, so I think what needs to happen is if TAD 2 wins that at the very least, then they're still in it in the race. If they win 1 or less, then they're out. Because 2-1 puts them at 8 wins, puts LLW at 11, and so LLW needs to go 0-3 against GCC, and they need to go 3-0 against Rev, and then that gives them the tiebreak, equal standing, and puts them.
Well, you also have to think about War in this situation
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
I'm ignoring them if it's like if it's just like
Okay.
six.
So this is a
4-6
hyperbolic
places.
time chamber. Gotcha.
Like sure, I mean War just needs to win 3 games then too.
I think if Ted does lose 3-0 or they lose 1-2, that puts them at what 7 and 14, and War take a game. That's really good for them because that means that they just have to win 1 or 2 games to confirm them in, because that would be much easier for War than, them winning the series per se. Because let's say War beats TKK 2-1 and they go 1-2 versus GCA. That's really good for them because that just ends them at 11 and 13, and that leaves TAD, let's say, at 10-15 or 10-14. Because
so basically what I see, yeah.
because
So
War does
TAD
have the
3-0's
TAD.
Rev.
Yeah, because War does have the tiebreaker over Tad. So I gotta actually write that in.
Yeah, so if TAD 3-0's Rev, they're at 9, and then they win 2 against LLW, and that puts them at 11. And so it's 11 is probably where they need to be to have the least chance to get in. So they have to go at least 5-1, maybe even win out if they want a shot. Because yeah, War needs to. LLW and War have to tank if they want a shot, which is possible, but just not likely.
Mikey, do you have any crazy playoff scenarios you want to talk about?
I would love to see TAD slide into playoffs. That's the only crazy one I want to talk about, but I don't think it's likely. I think TAD is close to out, but not impossible, I would love to see it. That's basically it. Other than that, I would also love to see I'd love to see a team slide into that first round bye that none of us are expecting. Although,
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's
is
possible.
it not? So it's between GCA, NYM, and TPP, right?
Yeah.
Those are the only 3 teams that could get it.
I mean, theoretically, TKK could get it if those 3 teams don't win at all, but I expect them to, because you got TPP playing against GCC, and GCA playing against War, which could be a close series, but I'm expecting a 3-0 from GCA. So there's just chances, but it's very unlikely in my eyes, especially since NYM has a bye and they're playing Rev.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but I mean,
Yeah. So
I might have to shut this one down on you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. And it was a shot in the dark as it was. So
Yeah.
for sure though.
So
Thinking about making a sheet that would go over every possible thing, but it would be
the-
thousands of cells.
Okay.
ELU foldy sheet.
Yeah.
Oh God! Isn't that like the
the
playoff
problem is-
the world's group thing? Isn't there
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
site
it's
for
usually
that?
LCS playoff.
The
spots. They
problem
do it
is because there's games instead of just series, which adds that extra dimension. There is an order of 100 times more options.
Yeah.
Depending on if anyone goes from a 3-0 to an 0-3. I'm tempted. I really am tempted to make it. So maybe that happens tonight.
That's a lot of work. I would rather you work on the stats sheet for teams than you do
I don't have
that.
access. I don't have access to the stats sheet. So
Oh,
if
dude,
someone else wants to do
I
that-
need someone to take my job. I can't do it anymore. Dude, I bet anyone in chat, if you want to, message me, please, because it's just empty and it makes me sad. But I just don't have time.
You can hit me up. Talk with me later.
Cool.
I'll think about it.
One thing I think the last thing I'll say is, I think War, they're playing against 2 hard teams. I think the best they do is 3-3. Maybe they surprise, but that puts them at 11. And so TAD would have to 6-0 to get out because they don't have the tiebreaker. But if they go 2-4, if War goes 2-4, which is equally as likely, and then TAD only needs to win 5 games, which I think is unlikely but possible. So I think the most likely scenario is War ends 10-14, and TAD ends 11-13, and they squeak in there. So I think that is most likely what's going to happen. You have War losing 2 series, either 3-0 or 2-1, and then TAD winning both their series handily. I think that's the best scenario for TAD, and probably that's my prediction for what's happening down at the bottom of the playoff race.
All right.
Oh, fair enough.
I think we covered everything we wanted to as well.
There's one small thing I want to cover, and I don't want it to take a lot of time.
Okay.
And so as far as predictions for MVP of the season, which I think people pretty much agreed with mine last season, but now I have a crew to bounce it off of, so it won't just be my opinion. This year, I'm between for the MVP watch. Of course, we still have to see how the dance plays out.
Mm-hmm.
MVP of the regular season, my watch list is 999 Forever.
Standard.
Wyke Wazowski.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple more on there that I'm blanking on, but I think those are the two big ones in my eyes right now. Uh,
Wait, so what are we determining MVP? Like, is it just like best
I mean,
best player in the
I-
thing, or like
it's
the
subject.
most?
It's subjective to your opinion. So in my mind, I'll tell you how I do it in my
Mhm.
mind, which is not how you have to judge it.
Right, right, right.
In my mind, it's like just the player that the team is kind of like, and Stormblade has to be up there as well. It's the player that team is kind of just fluctuates around and is the
Mhm.
MVP. I mean, I don't know how else better to explain it, but without that player, there's a key piece missing to the team, and the team does not perform as well, basically.
Yeah. That's so in my eyes, there's two things. It's like the person who did best individually the entire season, or the person who's most valuable to their team. I
Sure.
usually go with the latter. Um, so I agree. I think 99 Forever is up there. I think Wyke is out there. I would also argue I don't think Stormblade is there. I think he does well for his team, but I feel like his performance this season was not what people were expecting and just isn't quite up to par with the MVP level. Um, I would say so those two I would throw out Scalene. I would also throw out Hextech, Hector, and maybe even Fidsick. I think he is at the lower end there, but I think Fidsick and Solomon are like my two like lower end people. But Forever, Wyke, Scalene, and Hextech, and
Yeah,
then Fidsick, Solomon.
Okay.
for sure.
I
Oh,
I don't have a personal opinion on MVP yet.
yeah. Obviously, we have to wait to see what happens. I
Mhm.
mean, the only problem I have with your second definition, and it is a good one, the only problem I have with it is then we could give MVP to Dr. Aluro technically, because he is probably, by your second definition, he probably should win the award, right? It's just hard to give MVP to someone on a team that a winless team, you know.
Yeah, I'd say there. It's like it's good to just mix the two. I mean, like
Yeah,
just
a
find a
healthy
blend
mix.
between it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, people are probably going to take that individually, um, take their own individual stance on that.
Hmm.
But like on the spectrum of like how far you lean towards one another, I think those are the two ends, or the 2 points, and so people just have to determine how they want to see it.
Yeah.
Um, are we doing like a full league poll, or is it just like the staff or whatever just deciding? Or
I
is there
mean,
going to be like a captain's poll or something like that? Do you
we
have
could do
plans?
it any way you guys want. Last year it was just me because I was the only writer on staff and nobody else was doing. But now that we have a staff, we could do it however. We could do voting. We could do just the analysts. We could do just the staff.
I think it would be fun to do a couple different levels. Say you uh, did a poll that everyone had access to, and then you pulled together a committee, and each person came up with their own thing, and then by consensus you vote on your MVP. But you'd have your uh, total what everyone had voted on in front of you to help inform your decisions.
Yeah.
Doesn't the LCS do it like every person gets like first, second, third, and that's how you determine? No, that's all pro team MVP. There's like MVP voting where like casters and I think players do that, but I don't know. I think yeah, like a full poll would be good, and then like if I think we're obviously not a democracy, right? So it's
We try
clearly
to be.
no, we're authoritarian.
Yeah, true, true. I was about to say, you know how many things we put to a vote,
Mhm.
and
I think
you guys were the ones who
yeah.
decided the 5-game playoff series. You all decided that, not us.
I think a good way to do it is do the full poll, and then you have like
Yeah.
captain. that's just the thing, and you take that into account. But then I think like captains should get like a vote, and
Yeah.
they can determine with their teams, and then like staff and analysts.
I think all
Like,
the lists should come out at the same time. The reason why I
Mhm.
don't want the list to come out separately is because that does affect people's judgment.
Yeah.
Because some people, it'll affect their judgment, like they'll just go along with what everyone else is saying. Some people are contrarians, so
Mhm.
on purpose they will go against what everyone else is saying, even though it's like even though it's totally correct.
Yeah.
Contrarians are annoying. No, I'm just kidding. They're not the worst. They're needed sometimes, but I think it's good to keep. We should keep the list secret until they're all. That'd be my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably figure something out. We got 2 weeks left. Hopeless. Do you have anything about like any potential MVP candidates you want to throw out there?
What you guys said pretty earlier was pretty good for me. Um, Overall, I would I would agree with most of them that you have your kind of carries, like in Wyke and
Forever.
99, yeah, forever. And then you have your kind of lesser known like glues, like Fidsick and Solomon Khan. I know personally, if I have to give an MVP for my team overall, it's probably Fidsick in like 99% of our cases. Um, he really just holds our team together. But as a overall series, that's so hard to determine.
Mhm.
I would want to pour over probably. I would want to talk about it with people and pour over data before giving that to something specific. Also, just because I haven't watched every minute of ELU as much as I should, perhaps. So,
Mhm.
but
All right.
Awesome. Is there anything else?
I got nothing.
No.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think that was it for our podcast. Just on time too, so we can go and do some practice.
Oh.
I think we need a full league poll. Would be dope. We're a theocracy. We worship the corn.
We're a theocracy.
True, we are a theocracy led by mom.
It's true. Oh, really quick. Everyone's kernels are updated, and also the next circus game will be next Tuesday. So sign up for that because it's gonna be actually pretty dope.
Wow, a circus
Wait.
game.
I know. Haven't had one for a while.
Bold, aren't we, Mikey?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
Right
cool
before
fun
playoffs.
news. More observers coming soon. Also,
Ooh.
we are looking at upgrading the endgame stats screen. Won't happen probably until next season and or playoffs. Stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for joining us. It has been a long time since we have done a podcast as well. I would like to thank all of you for personally joining us, giving us good laughs in the chat as well. I hope all of you have a safe and wonderful day. Hopelezz, do you have anybody you want to shout out?
my team in general.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. All right, so Hopelezz shouting out the full team. SpiritTracks, Mikey, anything else you want to say? Any last comments?
Good luck in esports.
Good luck.
Good luck at McDonald's. Thank you very much. We are going to go ahead and take that off for the night. Thank you very much for joining us on our nice little return podcast. Only an hour and 38 minutes, not the one of our longer podcasts, but not, so deep. But we would like to thank you. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe. Don't pull a Mikey. Have a good one.
And nice.